Welcome to the Castle of the Dark, where we are planning our next attack on Earth and its people. My name is Leonidas, and today we are going to be making fluffy, thick Japanese, I think they're Japanese, I'm not sure they're Japanese, pancakes, big, thick, fluffy, soufflé pancakes they call it. And to do that, the first thing we need to do is get two bowls. Here's one bowl. The other bowl is special. I'd say it's special, but the only thing special about it is it's been in the freezer, along with a couple eggs. You see, we want cold eggs because we're gonna make a meringue. All right. So first step is to separate these eggs. These eggs have been in the freezer for about 10 minutes. This should be very cold, very cold. Let's see if I can. Yep. See, they're half frozen, and believe it or not, that's what we want. So the first thing we're gonna do is separate it. Oh, it's so cold, and we want the yolk in one side, and the white goes over here. Right. It's the next egg. We're gonna separate it. Here you can see. And they're about half frozen, more or less. They're just really cold. It doesn't have to be frozen. Like, there's still some white in there that I kind of want to get out, because I want as much white as I can. Okay. And it is important that it's very cold and very cold, I guess. You just want it to be cold. Okay. And then you separate the next one. Okay. Yolk over there. White over here. And what we're basically gonna do is make two mixtures. We're gonna make the meringue in this one, and we're gonna make the I don't know, I think it's yellow mixture, whatever. We're making the egg yolk mixture in this one. Okay. Washing my hand real quick. Okay. Now, for this mixture right here, we have the egg, the yolks, and then to that we will be adding cake flour. Cake flour is usually more makes for a finer crumb, and we want these pancakes to be very fine, very sophisticated looking. They are, after all, first and foremost, for looks, really. These are not much for how they taste, although they will taste fairly good. Don't get me wrong. Once we're done with them, they'll taste pretty good. And we'll want to add some baking powder. And then we want the wet ingredients. We have a little bit of milk. It's very little milk, honestly. It's almost no milk at all. And then, and I always get this part wrong because I always make it fall. We want a little bit of vanilla. Come on. Oh my God, don't fall. Okay, whoo! I measured it right. I didn't hit it with a huge splash of vanilla. And what we want to do is mix this. Mix this fairly thoroughly. I'll just use a spoon. And we should get something that's kinda uniform, kinda what do you call it? Liquidy. And you want to mix it really well, because the egg is so cold. It's actually a little more firm than normal. So you gotta give it a little bit of extra muscle in there. But once we're done, it should have no lumps in it, or close to no lumps. Normally, when you're making pancakes, you want lumps in it because it's that type of batter, and it kind of works really well with the lumps in it. However, this one is not that type of pancake. This is some fancy pancake that really you eat with your eyes as well as with your mouth. Okay, So we have something that kind of looks like pudding. And it has a little bit of lumps in it, but I'm gonna mix it just a bit more actually. I think that's good. The vanilla makes it smell really good. It almost smells like cookies. I know I shouldn't try it, but well, it doesn't taste as good as it smells. And then for the next step is the interesting one. So we have here our yellow mixture, or our yolk mixture. Now we want to do our meringue mixture. So for this, we have our very, very cold bowl, our very, very cold yolks, and we don't add anything else. We just beat it. Oh, and if you have a whisk attachment on your hand blender, that's even better. So let's try it. It's not done yet, but you can see it's getting very firm with itself. So I want to scrape a little bit the sides of it, like that. And what we're gonna do is add our sugar to this. We want to add the sugar when it starts stiffening up like this. And we want to add it a little bit at a time. So I'll add just a bit here. And then we'll continue adding more once we. A little more sugar. And I'm gonna add the last of our sugar in there. Okay. As you can see, we are very stiff right now. When we want very, very stiff peaks, you can tell that it will hold the shape on its own. Yep, yep. All right, so now, the next step. What we want to do is combine both mixtures together. And for that, you just give it a final mixing right here. You can tell its volume became much bigger. So what we want to do is mix about a third of the mixture first, and then, well, let me show you. So we have our yellow mixture here, and we have quite a bit of meringue here. And what we don't want to do is put it all in there at a time. So we'll add about a third in there, and a little more. And this first third, we're gonna mix very, very well. Very thoroughly. We don't care at this point if the air bubbles get destroyed or not. So now, we have a much thicker batter right here than what we started with. Actually, some of this didn't get mixed in. Hold on. And then, once we have our base batter right here, that's a little thicker than normal, we got the rest of our meringue in there. All of it, just all of it in there. No holding back this time. And now, we want to be very careful how we mix this. We want to just kind of gently fold it. You just like turn it, fold it, turn it, fold it, turn it, fold it, turn it, fold it. Being as careful as you can, as gentle as you can, because this is most of the lift that our pancakes are gonna have. So you don't want to be too rough with it. Getting there. We should have a very fluffy batter when we're done. And it's kind of looking like it. You can see that it's a mixture between the meringue and the yellow batter in consistency. And that's our batter, and we'll begin cooking these. Okay. To cook these, we're gonna set our stove very, very low here. And we're gonna get a wide pan, non-stick. And we really want to use spray oil. Spray oil has more compounds in it to make things unstick. And we'll just wait here until what we want is for it to be hot enough that if I throw some water in it, it'll sizzle. So it's sizzling, but it's not sizzling quite enough. So I need it to be slightly hotter than that. So we just wait a little bit. Okay. It looks good. So now we spray it. And we really want cooking spray. Cooking spray is the best thing we can get for not sticking. Once it's nice and lubed, we take a very big dollop of our batter, or as big as we can. And we just kind of pile it there. There you go. We're gonna make 2 pancakes at a time. And what we want is just enough so that it gives some mass in there. Okay. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna put just a little bit of water, just a little bit. And we're gonna cover it. And it's gonna steam it, and it's gonna cook the outsides of it. Because they're so thick, because these pancakes are so thick, they won't cook in the center unless you steam them. And in fact, what we're probably gonna do is cook a little bit and then add more batter on top, and then we're gonna start steaming that too. Usually, what I like to do is I like to make buttermilk pancakes, and buttermilk pancakes are very, very different than this. Buttermilk pancakes. Well, first of all, the batter is very, very rustic, to put it one way. All it is flour and buttermilk and sugar. I think those are the main ingredients. The recipe calls for butter in it, but I don't put butter in it in the batter. I don't put butter in the batter. I put the butter on the pancakes once it's done. But there's something about the buttermilk that interacts. Oh, I think it has baking soda as well. So it interacts with the baking soda, and it's supposed to make it fluffy, but that's not what I like the recipe. I like it because the buttermilk adds this tanginess to it that it just goes very, very well with the dough. It's really, really good. And the cool thing about it is that, well, maybe it's not so cool because that's the only thing I use buttermilk for. So every time I make them, I have like a bunch of buttermilk left. So I have to eat pancakes the next week too, or usually do this in the weekends because I don't usually eat breakfast. Well, let's check on this. You can see it became matte on the top, and that's what we're looking for. Let me just check to see if they're not burning. Okay, they're okay. They're okay for now. So now, what I want to do is add a second layer of batter to these. And then, I have a scraper right here. We're using the rest of the dough here. Okay. So to give these pancakes even more lift, I'm gonna add a second layer here. And because the batter is so thick, it should stay. And the insides of these are not cooked yet. So we don't want to flip them just yet. Okay. I can tell the souffle, the meringue is already deflating. And then we put a little more water in there. And then we'll steam it. We'll steam it for a little more. We just want to steam it for a little bit because we're still gonna flip them. Our batter became just a bit liquidy because it's been sitting there for a bit, and because it's not that much, it actually not much quantity of it. We actually had to like beat it a little harder than it should have. So our air bubbles broke up just a bit, but they didn't break up enough. So this should be enough to give us the lift that we need. Okay. Now that this is the hard part. So what you want to do is flip it without it deflating. Every time I flip pancakes and I mess it up, I get irrationally mad. And these are not cooked on the inside at all, so we really have to steam them. We steam them for two reasons. We steam them. One is so that the steam will cook around it, and the other one is so they don't dry out. Since we're cooking them for so long, they're gonna dry out more than usual pancakes. But these are on their way to become nice fluffy pancakes. I heard a pop. I thought the stove went off. No, but we're good. They're just a bit darker than I want. But that's okay. I think they're still gonna be good. Usually what they'll do is they'll put it in a mold, and the mold kind of contains the batter, and that's how you get like super nice and perfect pancakes like that. But the other way you can do it is if you have like a big ice cream scoop, and then when you scoop it, it scoops it in a nice round layer, so the ice cream is the batter is in the nice round thing, and you don't have the weird things on the side. But I only had like a normal spoon. I think they're still roundish. They could have done without that second pouring on top. I think they're thick enough, but we wanted to make them as thick as possible. The other way to do it is that you combine two of the pancakes together to make kind of like a sandwich, and then it's as thick as you can make it. But for perfect pancakes, you use a mold. For anything that's perfect in kitchen, you use a mold. I'm so tempted to open it and check. We're opening it and checking. It's getting there. Okay. That one looks more like your stereotypical Japanese pancake or fluffy pancake. So one thing that you can do as well, once it's getting close, you turn it off. You just turn off your stove and you just leave it there for a minute. And what that will do is that it'll continue to absorb the heat out to the inside. You do this a lot when you're cooking meat as well. If you're cooking meat, you can leave it in the oven, and the residual heat will just seep in. So we're kind of doing the same thing with the pancakes. even though it's off, there's still a lot of heat in there in the air. So it's just gonna kind of normalize and go inside of the pancake and cook the inside that we're needing. We really need that inside to cook because it's so thick. It's a lot like making a steak. So when you make a steak on the pan, what you want is to like sear it. You sear it on both sides, and you do this just for flavor. And then you usually put it like in the oven, and then the oven will finish cooking it. You could technically do that with these too. Now that I think about it, you could sear them, quote unquote, and then put them in a pan and put them in the oven for a while, and then the inside will cook afterwards. That'd be an interesting experiment. But because we have a lid, it's acting as an oven in there as it is, and you can tell it's acting like an oven because look at all the steam. It's coming out and getting trapped in there, and it just kind of recirculates the heat. Okay. Now, what I want to do is plate this. And I'll show you how they look. Okay. One way to tell if they're good or not is if you poke them. They're firm, but not completely. There you go. Yeah, it looks like pancakes. It's a little weird. I could have done a better job with the positioning, but they're Japanese pancakes. They're Japanese. They're fluffy Japanese pancakes. Okay. Let me plate it. Let me get this out of the way. And they're thick pancakes. Yeah. This over there. You can see they're very thick. Oh, let me pick one up. They are very, very thick. They're much thicker than normal. We could make it thicker. Well, this one doesn't look as thick because it's kind of tapered. But there you have it, soufflé pancakes.